Mr. Lange, yesterday, Sunday, you said that was a clear deadline, that you needed a legal text to be able to ratify the future vague hypothetical Brexit deal. Of course, it's Monday morning, there's no text. So what happens next?
Yeah, it's quite clear. The ratification process inside the European Parliament can't be closed until the end of this year. So there will be a period starting from the 1st of January where, if there's a deal, this deal is not really ratified by the Parliament. And we have to manage this transition period so that the Parliament has enough time of scrutinizing such a big trade agreement from more than 1,000 pages. Let's see, and we will discuss it now quite carefully how to manage this situation. But of course, nobody is knowing if there will be a deal or no.
Okay, so what you say is the European Parliament is not going to ratify the text this month. It's not going to happen. Time's already run out. So I wonder, is that the consensus view at the European Parliament? Is that what all of you are thinking? You're just not voting this?
Yeah, of course. This is a common approach from all political groups. Of course, normally we have a period from 136 in average of time for scrutinizing trade agreement. And of course, we have some experience in negotiating trade agreements and scrutinizing trade agreements with Japan, with Canada, and so on. And this is, of course, not possible until the end of the month. So we need some extra time for a proper scrutinizing process. And by the way, the final yes or no on a deal is by the European Parliament.
Right. And you said on January 1st, based on that logic, we're headed into a period of no deal. So what does that period look like in your view then?
Yeah, of course, we can find some measures to stabilize the situation as it is. So it's really depending on the question if there will be an agreement or not. And then, of course, we can also discuss to provisionally apply some parts of such a deal to avoid disruption in trade of goods and services. But let's see, it's really depending on the situation. We are ready to be flexible, but the final word will be in the next year.
Okay, and just to make it clear, European leaders could agree to some extent to extend the transition period to bridge the agreement being voted or agreed at a political level, and then the ratification that would come in the European Parliament. But I wonder, do you foresee any scenarios in which the UK and the EU are going to trade on WTO terms purely because of logistics that are coming into place now?
Of course, we are prepared. So it's not my hope and not my wish. But if there is no possibility to find a compromise on fish, on level playing field and some other open issues, then of course we are prepared for a no deal scenario going back to the WTO rules. We adopted just last week 4 further consistency measures so that we can avoid a total disruption in the supply chain. But nevertheless, there will be more controls, there will be customs introduced. So it's a totally different situation as we have now.
Right, and you say that you've taken contingency measures and that Europe is ready for the no-deal scenario. But I would say when you speak to business on both sides of the channel, they say that that's not cleared in any way, that they really don't know what happens if there's no deal on January 1st, or even if a deal is not ratified. So what do you say to perhaps some criticism that ultimately you're playing with fire here, that you're affecting the way that people make money and their livelihoods?
Oh, they are right. So I have no understanding for the negotiation process anymore, to be honest. It's not adequate to the democratic process, but even worse, it's not adequate to the consumer and the people on the ground. What should they to be aware on? What's going on in 10 days? So this is really less of responsibility on the negotiation process.
Right, and just very quickly, do you foresee that at this point, Barnier will come up with a deal that's only going to come very close to New Year's? And I'm thinking 29th, 30th, 31 December. Is that what you're thinking?
No, I don't think so. But nevertheless, nobody knows. I have not my crystal ball here with me. I hope that there will be a deal, but I'm not sure. And when it will be on the table, I have no clue. But we are prepared to be flexible to avoid the worst disruption in the interests of the economy and the people on the ground.